Okay, so now I've just realised that in fact I have had my microphone on mute. So I'm going to start again, which is to say welcome and thanks for bearing with me for those people who, have been here for a few minutes. So it's really exciting. You can tell I don't normally put my microphone on mute. I was trying to be really clever with all of this technology. So welcome. I'm so pleased that you could join me to share in the launch show for First Lead Yourself. It's been a little while coming, but I'm super excited about being able to share this with you. Okay, so I've just had someone say from my team, LinkedIn no sound, but it's okay because I've already got that sorted. So thank you, Penny. That was so generous of you to let me know that I wasn't actually making any noise. So welcome again to everyone. I'm so delighted that you could share this with me. As I said while I was on mute, I'm streaming on LinkedIn, on Facebook, actually a couple of pages on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Instagram. So welcome everyone, and I'm so pleased that you could join me. And for those who are watching the replay, then thank you so much for watching as well. The book, First Lead Yourself, is now up on Amazon, so it's available to buy. It's a special launch offer price of only 99 cents. So jump on there while that lasts, and I'd really appreciate your support in helping me to get to Amazon, #1 bestseller. That'd be great. But more importantly, to get your hands on the book. I think that that's such an important thing. I really want to share these messages with the world. Okay, what I wanted to do is to give you a quick rundown on what I'm going to be talking about in this First Lead Yourself launch show. Okay, so I've got a few people telling me that they still can't hear anything, which seems strange. Matt, could you do me a favour? Can you tell me if you've got sound now? I would love to know if anyone has sound, wherever you are. Matt, have you got sound? Still no sound. Oh my gosh. Why not? Why not? Sugar. Some people have got an echo. Echo cancellation is on. Audio.
I've got sound.
You've got sound?
Yes.
Okay. So we do have sound. Okay. Let me just, okay, Pam, thank you for letting me know that in fact you can hear. That's really wonderful. And Satish, okay, so there's just a bit of a delay, I think, here going on. So welcome again. Really delighted to have you here. And I think I was just talking about, before I got disrupted and interrupted about the sound thing, please jump onto Amazon and buy your copy of First Lead Yourself. A few thank yous. Firstly, to my lovely supporters who have been putting out the word about First Lead Yourself for a little while now, sharing it with their tribes so that they can also get the benefits of some really practical ideas to elevate their own leadership. And in particular, I also wanted to thank the VIP readers who have been, jumping in early, getting some behind the scenes information so that they were part of the group that went on the journey of the launch process, but also so that they could get early notification about, the book launching. Okay. I think the echoing might be that, because I don't normally have echoing problems, it might be a localized thing. So apologies if that's the case. Thanks to Inspirational Book Writers for reposting on Instagram. That's really lovely. Okay, if you're having problems on LinkedIn, here's my suggestion, which is jump across to Facebook. If the sound is a bit of an issue for you, my suggestion is jump across to Facebook. because it doesn't require as much bandwidth, and it typically is just a little bit of a better streaming experience. Nick, it's great that you can hear me from New Zealand. That's just fantastic. Marco says the sound is perfect, so that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. You know, we have all these little technical challenges, but we carry on. So what I wanted to share with you tonight is a little bit, I guess, of the journey of what prompted the idea of the book, why I wrote it, some of the process of actually writing it. I wanted to share a couple of extracts, do a little bit of reading, not very much, but just a little bit, so you can get a sense of it. And then I'm going to take questions. So I would love to hear from you, you know, what you would like to know. Dave Thompson is saying he's got his copy. Thank you so much, Dave. Lovely to have you here. And thanks for the confirmation that, in fact, there isn't an echo for you either there. And that's on Facebook. So Nick suggested logging out and logging back in on LinkedIn, and it's working totally fine. All right, beautiful. Again, share. I would love if you could share this actually with, you know, other people that you think might benefit from getting some ideas about how to first lead yourself and how to actually be a leader. You know, what is being a leader? Okay, so why did I write the book? Well, for those of you who know me, I fundamentally believe that all leaders need to be continuously elevating their game. Always looking for the opportunity of what don't they know, how could they learn, how can they put that learning into practice, and that there's a gap sometimes between the desire to be able to want to do that and the information available. So there's lots of people who want to do great work, who perhaps are not getting the learning and development opportunities really offered to them. And so I really wanted to just create an opportunity for more leaders to be able to access some of the information that they need. But like my first book, it's highly practical. I believe that, there's something about being able to learn something new and actually know that you're going to be able to use it and that you're going to be able to, put it into action fairly quickly, because I think it's much more likely to happen then. And so, like my first book, The New Leader, First Lead Yourself is all about implementation, trying things out, finding out what works, and then, doing more of that. Mike, great to have you here. Eliza, I can see you as well. So it sounds like for LinkedIn, the logging out and logging back in seems to be working really well. So again, thanks everyone for joining me. And, I'm really, chuffed that you're all here with me. Okay. I think what I noticed, in my own corporate career, I think I probably wasn't as conscious of it in the middle of my career, but I'm much more conscious of it now, is that I had a really great role model as a leader, but it wasn't someone who I actually worked with. And it was my dad. I was really lucky that he shared with me so much leadership wisdom. And what I realized is that in my working life, I worked with lots of really amazing people, but from a leadership perspective, I didn't actually learn that much. And I feel like there's a gap between what leaders are doing in terms of offering their wisdom and their own learnings and that sort of thing to try and bring other leaders up along with them, and what they could be doing. And so I'm trying to close some of that gap with this book. I guess with all of my books. Okay. Grant Herbert, great to see you here as well. Okay. So the thing that I truly believe is that leaders have a primary responsibility, a clear responsibility to create other leaders. And so they need to know how to do that. And part of that is actually to be a leader themselves. But how do they be a leader if the person in front of them is not being a leader? We've all seen leaders who have a job title, but perhaps don't actually fulfill that job title, that leadership role. And so where do we get our learning from? And how do we pass that learning on to others? And so, again, that's one of the reasons that I wrote this book. So I just want to share with you a little bit from the foreword. that Dave Thompson kindly wrote for me. And if you've just joined, please jump on Amazon, get your 99-cent copy of First Lead Yourself. It'll be on all the different Amazon sites around the world. I have popped the link into the post, but you can search on First Lead Yourself or Stacey Ashley, and it will come up for you. Okay, Kath. Thank you so much for buying. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to hear and see when your books come out as well. Okay, so here's a little bit from the foreword. People from all walks of life, from every industry and every country, are putting their faith in leaders and then being sorely let down. I hate that. I think we can do better. And I think people put into leadership positions must do better because so much is at stake. Being in the presence of a great leader is like a breath of fresh air. You know it because you can feel it. A great leader inspires, uplifts, and holds that point of certainty for the collective when all looks lost. Great leaders create amazing organisational culture, one where people want to come to work and not only do that, but do great work as well. On the biggest scale, I believe great leadership helps humanity flourish. And I completely agree with you, Dave. But there's more. But we can't wait for a great leader to show up and save us. If you're not happy with the leaders around you, perhaps you are the leader that you've been looking for. It all starts within. But having the desire to lead yourself and actually knowing how to do that are two different things. If you've been thrust into a new situation and that is demanding more of you, then First Lead Yourself is your guide to the most fundamentally important piece, the being of leadership. John, great to see you there. Thank you. Mohammed, great to see you. And that's just a taste of Dave's foreword. And I really agree with his sentiments. And one of the reasons that I asked Dave to write the foreword for me, because this book is about an embodiment of leadership. It's about a being. It's not just, I know the technical boxes that I need to tick. It's actually about being a leader, really making the choice to embody leadership in how you show up every single day. And Dave's just such a great example of that. And so I really couldn't go past him in terms of being able to write this foreword for me. And to give you a little bit of background, so Dave was qualified as a lawyer and moved into the corporate space fairly quickly and decided that actually the leadership in there and the experience for him didn't work. So he's gone to pursue his dreams and his passion. And I think in doing that, he's every day he looks for learning. He looks at how he shows up. He elevates it. He makes really conscious choices about the contribution that he makes to the world. And that for me is an embodiment of First Lead Yourself. And so he was a great choice for this. I would love to know exactly, how that might resonate for you, that concept of being a leader and First Lead Yourself. I'm just having a quick look at some of the comments that I can see coming up. They all look pretty good. Lovely to have you all here. Ben, thank you so much for buying. Thank you for your support. I really, really appreciate that. I know it's been a little while since we talked, but lovely to have that support from you. I've got a few people saying they could buy on different sites, not on Australia, so we'll have to check that out. But I think Australia is actually working, so I had a little go myself earlier, so it should be fine. So for those that have just jumped on, we're talking about First Lead Yourself, and of course that it's live on Amazon around the world, so you can jump on and buy your special offer. for only 99 cents. It's not going to last that long, I don't think, but certainly during the live and a little longer than that. So share it with your friends, your colleagues, anyone who you feel like needs a little bit more information to help them to elevate their own game of leadership. Okay, let me see. What else did I have on my list of things that I wanted to talk about? A bit of background, I guess, about how long this has been in progress and kind of what happened along the way. Mike Cameron, you can't lead others if you can't first lead yourself. Yeah, I think it's kind of like a license to lead others, to be kind of looking inwards first, doing the work, and then you kind of earn the opportunity to be that model for others, to lead others. And when I say lead, that's not about position. Leadership is about all sorts of things. You could be, by rights of your position, a leader of people, but you can be a thought leader, a portfolio leader, a program leader, a community leader, a sports team leader, a family leader, a leader of self. There are so many leadership roles, and I'm hopeful that this book will help to contribute, in all of those spaces. So when I say leader, there's a lot of people, almost everyone, I think, that falls into that category. I'm just reading a couple of other interesting comments that are coming up. Okay. So the history of this book. So I wrote my first book, The New Leader, in 2018, and shortly afterwards, and I think that was released early October, and in the following January, in January 2019, I actually fleshed out the frame for this particular book, and then I got really busy with other things, and so it just sort of sat there in the digital cupboard for a little while, until I got another opportunity to really focus intensively on the book. And so actually I wrote this book in January of this year in 5 days, with inspirational book writers again. And that's the way that I like to write a book, is to write it really intensively, just get in the space and, really immerse myself and just generate our book and have a manuscript at the end of that time. And so again, that's exactly what I did. And then I got really busy again. So again, it got parked. And then I think about 2.5 months ago, maybe not even that long, I said, okay, I really want to publish this book on the 1st of November. And so then there was this scramble of activity in the background to get it out. And for anyone who's written a book, and I know there's quite a few authors here, there's so much that goes into that process. Everything from editing to formatting to cover design to proofreading to, there's just so many steps, to writing the back cover, to writing about the author, to acknowledging people. There's masses and masses of pieces that come together to create a final book. So I'm super grateful for all the people that have been involved in actually putting it together and, really just making it happen, because we were on a very tight time frame. And again, the conditions this year have just made it a little bit trickier to kind of pull everything together. There's a little bit more time involved and, a few other bits and pieces. So really, really happy that we've done it and that we've got a book. So for those of you who've just jumped on, First Lead Yourself it's up on Amazon. I know people are buying it and in a few different countries by the look of it, so that's amazing. So there's a special launch offer. It's 99 cents for the moment. Now, I should also mention that for my first book, The New Leader, I've actually dropped the price down to 99 cents for that as well. So if you want to pick up both of them, you've got a bit of a bargain tonight. But I really want to get this information out to the world. I want to put this knowledge and leadership skill and ideas and concepts into as many hands as I can. And having a book that people can access globally is just one way of being able to do that. Okay. I've got a little runner come in. Okay, let me just see. Inspirational Book Writer says there's so much great info in this. Thank you. Questions. I would love to take any questions if people have got them, and I will try to kind of monitor them. I've got a couple of different things streaming, as I said earlier, and I'm trying to keep an eye on all the different comments that are coming up. So, please let me know. One of the things that I did want to share with you, though, is a bit of a personal story about this particular book. And so, as I said, I wrote this book in January in 5 days, and I was super happy with the manuscript. I just punched it out and, it was done. And then, of course, things changed in the world, but in combination with that, I actually had a bit of a crisis of confidence. And so I didn't move forward with publishing it straight away, and I just sat on it. Now, as it turns out, it probably worked out just fine, but, it does happen to everyone, that sometimes your self-belief just dips, or something happens and you're like, oh, would people even really want to read that? Would it be useful? Would it be valuable? So many things were going through my mind. And so I want to do a little bit of a shout out, because I got to a point where I realized I needed to do something with the book, and I just wasn't sure how to just kind of get past this concept. And the reason I had a crisis of confidence was that someone that I really respected actually said something about my first book. And I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do with that. And so it had an impact on my second book. And yet I know that lots of people love my first book. So why was it having an impact on my second book? Hey, we're all human and these things happen. And so what happened was I got to this point where I realized I really needed to get past this obstacle that was of my making, and to move forward. And so I just started to talk to people who I've worked with and who know me, and kind of get their take on it. And so I want to give a shout out to three of those people who really helped me to put it into perspective, and to realize that actually, I don't need to have this crisis of confidence. In fact, it's a good book. I'm really happy with it, and I should put it out there. So the people I spoke to were Kelly Glover, who is just an amazing bundle of energy. So she just asked me a couple of key questions that really helped. The amazing Davina Davidson, who is like my wisdom goddess of book writing, who just really offered, reflected back to me the things that I already knew. And then another one of my lovely colleagues, Trinza Hine, who again put some perspective on the fact that, not everyone's going to like your book, and that's okay. You don't write a book for everyone. You write a book for the people who need it. And that was and those three messages and people were just, quite incredible. And I spoke to them actually all within a 2-week period, and then, no obstacle anymore. And that's when I said, let's go for this 1st of November. So here we are. So I can see a couple of comments coming out, or questions actually. So I'm going to take a few of those. Let me just scroll back. So I'm taking some LinkedIn questions at the moment. So John says, where does the inspiration come from? Yeah, good. I think observation, experience, what frustrates me when I'm working with organizations, with leaders, that sort of thing, what I notice could be done better, what I notice isn't happening at all. And I think that at the moment I've already got 3 more books lined up in my brain. So I needed to get this one done to get out of there. But I think inspiration is it's also linked to what's important to you and where you feel like you can make a contribution, and I think that's really important. And for anyone who writes a book, it's because it's meaningful enough to them. The topic, the focus is meaningful enough to them that they actually want to put the effort into writing a book and sharing it with others. Mike, when will I have the paperback version available? Okay, so the paperback version is available to order. And if you would like to get a signed copy, then that is I think a link has gone out, but if not, I'll follow up all of the comments. So if you would like a signed author copy, and this is for in Australia, if you'd like a signed by the author copy, just put a comment in and we'll catch all those after the live, and we'll send you the link to be able to actually order those from us. So good question. Thank you. Hubby says he bought a copy, so that's great. Okay, John. Good question. Did I come up with the title before writing, during, or after writing? Actually, the first part of the title, First Lead Yourself, I've had for a really long time. And actually, I have a program that is, bits of this book called First Lead Yourself, that's been around for a few years. And so I've taken those concepts and I've really expanded them much, much further. And so that was the first part. The subtitle, that's the part that normally I struggle with the most. Exactly the same for my first book. And so when I say Davina Davidson, my wisdom goddess of book writing, Davina and I had, I think, like a 25-minute conversation and came up with the subtitle, The Being of Leadership, a Practical Guide. And that just felt really right and comfortable and really supported the book. And that was about 3/4 of the way through writing the manuscript. So I basically had the majority of the manuscript. I was just going through refining. And that's when I had finalised the title at that point. So great question. Thank you. Okay. Mike, yes, I will get you a signed author copy. We'll send you the link after the live. And for anybody else, if you'd like a signed by the author copy, then, and I'm talking to Australia at the moment, then we'll send you the link. If you're international and you'd like to get a signed author copy, then comment as well, and we'll figure out the best, most economical way to do that for you. All right, I'm just checking Facebook now. Christy Huggins, great to see you there. Thank you so much. I can see a few folks have purchased from the Facebook feed. They haven't purchased from the Facebook feed. They're on the Facebook feed and they've purchased on Amazon. So thank you. Really, really appreciate your support. And I'd love to hear from everyone who's purchasing. I'd love to hear your comments. The other thing that I wanted to mention, just in case you should notice it in the book, but for those that are purchasing, I want to just point out that there is a link to some resources, some of the worksheets and a couple of other resources that you can use if you want to. They're not essential. It's kind of like a bonus set of resources to support you implementing what you learn in the book. So if you go to the back of the book, there's Fly bonus resources, and you'll be able to just use that URL to get access to those things to support you as you go forward to first lead yourself and, really step into that being of leadership space. So I'll keep my eye out for questions, but I'm just going to read another part of the book. I'm just trying to figure out where will I start. Okay, so let me just start in the introduction. And this is part way through the introduction. Am I a leader? This is the question that we should all ask when we're thinking about taking on leadership, whether it's a role of leading people, thought leadership, leading programs, or a portfolio. Asking this question is the first step towards being a leader. For me, leadership begins with self. If I'm not leading myself, then what gives me the right, the potential, or the skill to lead others? Leadership is not just about knowing what to do. It's a being a leader, and then a doing the things that leaders do. And that's how other people learn to be a leader too. This thing that real leaders do, is to demonstrate being a leader so that others can learn what it is to be a leader. That's what it's all about. Others then can choose to follow you because you are leadership in action. You're showing what leadership is by being a leader. The challenge, though, is how do you get to the point of even knowing what you should be doing or how you should be showing up to be a leader? And so what I'm going to do in this book is to begin to address that for you. Let me check my comments. Okay, I can see them still coming through. John, yes, we'll get you the details for a signed copy. I should pop this up. Again, for those who've just jumped on to the live stream, wherever you are, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, then I'd encourage you to pop over to Amazon and grab your copy at 99 cents before it goes up, probably fairly soon. And I would love to know, for everyone that's purchased, once you've read it, I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to know what was most useful and valuable to you, what you're going to do with it, by when, all those coaching questions. Okay, so let me check in with how we are going. I just want to make sure I haven't missed these comments, because they're kind of flowing a bit and I've got them coming in from a few different directions. So big thank yous. I think it's such an important thing to do is to acknowledge the people around you. Like writing a book, yes, it's a very personal thing, but there are so many people involved in actually bringing it to fruition and getting it, put on Amazon or, at the publishers, or even knowing like what price do I put it on. So this is the second time that I have worked with Dave Thompson and the Inspirational Book Writing team, and they're amazing. They just do whatever it takes to support you and help you bring your book into the world. So huge heartfelt thanks to Dave and Davina in particular, but I know there's a massive team behind there as well. Such an amazing group. It really works for me. Their way that they help you to bring a book to life works for me. And I should say one of the things. Oh, actually, I'll leave that. Let me do my thank yous first. All of my colleagues who've been great supporters. I really thank you for that. Thank you for the encouragement, but also for the inspiration. I've got so many people around me that I think, wow, what they're doing is just amazing, and how they do it is amazing as well. And one day when I grow up, I want to be just like that. So thank you to all those people. Of course, to my fabulous family who let me do things like, go to a book writing retreat for 5 days and leave them behind. I already mentioned my VIP supporters, but I would love to also just generally thank my tribe who, just give me a reason for doing what I do. I really want to be able to help them. I want to see them grow. I want to see what great things they can achieve in their own leadership, whether it's of self or whether it's, broader in terms of their tribe or their organisation or industry, society, community, whatever it is. That's just, always wonderful to watch. And of course, my fabulous team. So what I was going to mention is actually that the way that I write books is perhaps a little different to what a lot of other authors do. So quite a few years ago, I tried to write my first book, and I tried kind of the traditional method of, write half an hour every day, and, eventually after a period of time, you'll have a book. And I just so could not do that. It just did not work for me at all. And so when I found the book writing retreat, that really worked for me, because I wanted to be able to immerse, carve out a space and actually just write my book and then know it was done. But on top of that, I'm a little bit different to I guess a lot of the people that even attend the book writing retreat, because the way that I write my books is to voice record them. And so for anyone who knows me, you know that I write all my articles, just about everything I do, I voice record it and then I edit it. And so that's what I've done with both of my books, and which is one of the reasons that I can write them so quickly, is I just start talking. And as you can see, I'm really good at continuing to talk. So it just really flows for me. And so I talk the book, it's a fairly structured approach. But then and then I edit it, and I find it's a very fast, very easy process. But the tip that I would give if you're a budding author and you think, hey, that's what I'm going to do as well, is that you need to be really familiar with that process. So before I even wrote my first book, I had been voice recording all my articles for a really long time. And so that part of it wasn't a learning, it was the actual structuring the book that was learning. And so I feel like if you want to voice record a book, then just make sure you're really practiced with the voice recording part before you start applying it to a book, which is a bigger piece than, say, a 2 or 3 page article. So that's my top tip for budding authors tonight. Okay, are there any more questions for me? I would love to hear, and I'd also love to hear if you've purchased a copy on Amazon, which is awesome and amazing for you and for me. Then I would love to be able to say thank you. So please do let me know if that has happened. And I'm just trying to check out my comments over here on Facebook. Actually, I should get up my other Facebook page and see what's happening there. In fact, I can't even see that one. So let me check that. John, great to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. Gosh, I've got so many more people here than I guess I really thought would come along. So that's kind of amazing. Thank you. Georgia, yes, we'll organise the link so that you can get a signed copy as well. Okay, how are we going? I'm just scrolling back up, and oh gosh, I've got to say, I can't believe that I didn't have my mic on at the beginning. And you know what it was, is that I actually changed my process. I normally don't mute my mic before I go live, and I thought, oh no, I'd really like to have a nice tidy beginning, so I'll mute the mic, and I forgot to turn it back on. So lesson learned, just do what you always do, especially on a special event. Okay. What else can I tell you? Actually, you know what? I have got one other story that I wanted to share with you, which is a few days ago, well, maybe it's a week ago, I discovered the importance of Amazon star ratings, and because I really hadn't paid much attention to that before. And so I hadn't really said to people, oh, can you go and put a review on my book based on, you read it, what was your experience of it? And so I only had a couple of reviews on there. And as you know, there's a star rating and you get, maximum 5 stars and then it goes down. Nagaraju, nice to have you here. And so, as I said, I hadn't paid much attention, but my book had always just had a 5-star rating. Anyway, about, 10 days ago, I checked it and all of a sudden I had this really low star rating. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happened? And so it turns out that someone has rated the book 1 star without having read it. But what happened was the impact of that 1 rating really changed how the book looked on Amazon. And so what I'd love to know is, or what I would encourage you to do is when you read a book that you think is good, then actually give it a rating so that the author is getting a good reflection of both feedback, but also there's a good set of data there for potential readers so that they get a reasonable impression of the book rather than one that's maybe a little bit lopsided, like my 1-star person who actually admitted that they hadn't read the book at all, which was, I'm like, oh, why did you rate it 1 star? Anyway, so if you like a book that you've read, then rate it so that, it's a nice thing to do, to offer that. Whether it's my book or whether it's somebody else's. I think, again, an author puts themselves out there when they write a book and they release it to the world. So if you like it, let them know that you like it and what you liked about it. And I'm sure that would be, incredibly valuable and appreciated from all authors. Okay. So for those that have just jumped on, just a reminder again that First Lead Yourself is on Amazon. That's the name of it, Amazon right now. And it's at a special offer price of only 99 cents for the ebook. So I would love for you to take advantage of that opportunity while it exists. So grab that copy for yourself. And as I just mentioned a little bit ago, my first book, The New Leader, I've just dropped the price of that ebook down as well, just for the next couple of hours. So you can grab the two of them if you want to, and get some real practical takeaways that you can use to elevate your leadership right now. And of course, share it with the people around you. You know, I want to, as I said, I want to put these skills and this knowledge into as many hands as I can. You know, that's what drives me to do what I do. I want to elevate leadership, and that means people need to know how to do that. So that's why it's practical. So there's lots of not just what to do, but how to do it. So again, I'd love to know your thoughts on what you find valuable and what you find useful. All right. For those, and I have had a couple of questions in the leader, for people who want to bulk order First Lead Yourself, then please either comment here or send me an email or a direct message. Send me a direct message. That's easier. And we'll get in touch with you to talk about quantities and, you know, how we get them to you and that sort of thing. What else? I think that's probably just about all that I had to share with you tonight. But I so appreciate you coming to celebrate with me the launch of First Lead Yourself, my baby here. It's just been a real pleasure to be able to share some of the ideas and process, and to say thank you to those that have gone ahead and purchased a copy. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think of it. So I think I might sign off for tonight, but for those people who are watching the recording, please do drop your comments in. Let me know, you know, how I can help, and what your thoughts are around the book and what's been useful to you. Gurmeet says, looking forward to reading your book. He's in Dubai. Wow, great to have you here. And you got it from Amazon UK. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Really good to know that all the sites around the world are actually doing what they need to do. That's really fantastic. So again, if you're watching the recording, just pop your comments, questions in here. I'll be watching out to see what other things come up, and how I can help and support. So have a great evening or day or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And really appreciate, again, you spending this time with me. And I wish you well. And I encourage you to read the book and put some things into action. So bye for now.